I'll admit I don't know a whole lot about Kanye West, but you may have heard that on Saturday Night Live, he put on a red Donald Trump hat, went out on stage, and said a whole bunch of stuff, and I kind of agree with him on most of it. I didn't watch every bit of footage, but I read through some articles, I watched some of the videos, and I thought, yes, I get it. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump, but I also realize what Kanye is saying is true. You can't just say, F that, F Trump. You can't do it. It's not going to solve anything. There are people who like Donald Trump, who like the policies he's enacted. Look, there are a lot of things that I think the U.S. president does, regardless of whether or not it's Trump or Hillary, whoever, foreign policy stuff that I'm going to disagree with. Donald Trump, whatever he's done, whatever you want to give him credit for, all I can say is the economy is better, unemployment is down, black unemployment is at record lows, and so I can imagine someone like Kanye West was going to come out and appreciate that. More specifically, Kanye West was talking about Candace Owens in the past, and she probably helped bring him to this point. But he talks about something and he's right. Something that I recognize. And for this, many people on the left do not like me. The fact that I'm willing to be friends with people who support Trump. Because I understand that not everybody, or I should say it this way, I don't have all the answers. I don't know what is or isn't like perfect and true and the right way to run things. Certainly some things are more true than others, right? I know that if I throw a brick at my window, the window will probably break. But in terms of how to run the country, man, I don't know. I just know there are certain things I really don't like bombing children with drone strikes, things like that. Not a big fan of that. Obama was a big player in creating what was called the kill list, the disposition matrix. Trump has carried out some similar policies. But I don't want to, this is not to talk, we're going to read through the story, we're going to talk about what Kanye West had to say. And then I'll tell you exactly how I feel. I think this was great that Kanye West did this. You know, a lot of people are making fun of him. They call it a pro-Trump rant. I'm like, I refer to what I do as ranting sometimes, but it's usually as like a self-deprecation. It's meant to be more playful and funny. This to me seems a bit derogatory. They even say it gets boos. Like, yeah, it did, but a lot of people cheered for him, and the boos, it's few and far between, you know? But obviously, I'll say this. One of the things he says is that the media is liberal. You know, so they go at Trump's neck all the time, and it's not helpful. Well, let's. So, live from New York, it's Kanye West with some opinions to share. The rapper 41 wrapped up the season premiere of Saturday Night Live with a third musical performance and a lengthy speech about his support of President Donald Trump that did not make it to the air. He started off by singing, "I want to cry right now. Black men in America, you're supposed to keep what you feel inside right now. And the liberals bully you and tell you that what you can and cannot wear, where you and they can't stare. And they look at me and say, it's not fair. How the hell did you get here?" Well, wearing a MAGA hat, he then delivered an unexpected speech in front of SNL performers like Colin Jost and Adam Driver, as some audience members booed. Actually, this is what Kanye West says, actually, blacks weren't always Democrats, he started. It's like a plan. It's like a plan they did to take the fathers out of the homes and promote welfare. Does anybody know about that? That's a Democratic plan. And so I think what he's saying there, I feel like, is very reminiscent of something like Candace Owens talks about, and actually a lot of people I've seen talk about. And I'm talking about like activists who are not even necessarily conservative, but I've spoken with black thinkers and activists who have told me something similar. I'm not an expert, so don't take my word for it. But that since welfare plans were enacted sometime like several decades ago, there's been an epidemic of fatherlessness in the black community. And that's, I think, reflected in what Chris Rock, Chris Rock is the one who filmed it, what Kanye West is saying. But again, take Kanye's word for it, not mine. I am not an expert. I wouldn't know how to tell you who is. But Chris Rock filmed it and posted it. After receiving sparse claps, West continued, "And what this shows is we can't be controlled by monolithic thought. You can't always have, when you have a black subject matter like Cosby, that you have to have a black comedian talk about it." Motioning to SNL funny man Michael Shea, West said, "You know what I mean?" I don't know what he meant. So apparently West replaced Ariana Grande, and she had to drop out. He said, "It's so many times that I talk to a white person about this, and they say, 'How could you support Trump? He's racist.' Well, if I was concerned about racism, I would have moved out of America a long time ago. We don't just make our decisions off of racism. I'm gonna break it down to you right now. If someone inspires me and I connect with them, I don't have to believe in all their policies." Well, how's Kanye West delivering this wisdom? Saturday Night Live. That's spot on. Now look, Donald Trump doesn't inspire me. If anything, he inspires negative emotions. But I said it earlier, I said it again, to all the people who support Trump, I understand that insulting you and being mean and physically violent doesn't do anything. It doesn't. I have sat down with my Trump supporting friends. We've had real conversations that have been enlightening for both of us. And that's how we solve our problems. And that's how we move this country forward. Not through elite, snarky, snide. I feel like so many of prominent people on the left, like so many prominent people on the left are just snarky, elitist assholes. Plain and simple. I watch these segments. One segment that I've talked about a lot where they insulted Donald Trump for eating steak with ketchup. I talked about it the other day. It's like, dude, you're ragging on poor people, not Donald Trump, okay? And they don't seem to understand that being mean, they're being mean. Like, dude, what's the saying? You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. But it seems like a lot of people don't understand that. And that's a lot of what Kanye West is talking about. It's kind of amazing. So I don't care. They talk about the Kardashian Kardashians. We can skip that. Chris Rock recorded West's speech on his Instagram story and seemed to whisper at one point, "My God." But this man is a builder, West said of Trump. And when I said I'm running in 2020, all my smart friends talked so much shit about me. And when I saw that man, when I said, "See, I told you I could have been there." In response, an audience member yelled, "F Trump." West added, "Now you got a situation where we need to have a dialogue and not a diatribe. Because if you want something to change, it's not going to change anything by saying F that person. Try love, try love, try love, try love." He's right. Absolutely right. I agree. Kanye West, speaking words of wisdom here. People want to be accepted. We are naturally driven to be socially accepted because being a part of a tribe saves our lives. People, I believe, want to be mean because they earn points with their tribe. But that's a problem. All right? They're creating an enemy on the other side instead of realizing that we're all people and that the problems we face, our true villain is something within us, not an other person. Our true villains are greed, malice, jealousy, the 7 deadly sins, I don't think the 7 deadly sins necessarily, but like things, the worst aspects of humanity. The villains we need to overcome are the natural challenges of the world. We develop technology, these like Mother Nature technically. And I'm not talking about destroying the environment. I'm talking about how if we spend too much of our time pointing our finger at other people, instead of pointing our finger to the sky and saying we should try for that. That's what we want to conquer. I don't need to hurt you. I don't need to yell at you. You're not the enemy. You're another human who works. Think about it this way. Even if you don't like a liberal or a conservative, they still facilitate your existence too. When they work at a store, when they work at a factory, they are helping you. You probably don't see it, And then so people point the finger at each other. Whatever, man. We need to be more connected. More unity. I think I'm going to go off on a rant about sci-fi in a second if I don't start reading again. Some audience members started laughing. They laughed. You see, they laughing at me. You heard them. They scream at me. They bully me. They bullied me backstage. They said, "Don't go out there with that hat on." They bullied me backstage. They bullied me. And then they say, "I'm in a sunken place." You want to see the sunken place? Okay, I'm going to listen to y'all now. I got to admit, a lot of what he's saying, I can't understand what he's trying to talk about. But I get the gist of it, right? He removed his MAGA hat before putting it back on. Or I'm going to put my Superman cape on, which means you can't tell me what to do. Follow your heart and stop following your mind. That's how we're controlled. That's how we're programmed. If you want the world to move forward, try love. And he's right. He talks about potentially hosting SNL in the future. He ended his speech with an expression of gratitude. "Thank y'all for giving me this platform," he concluded. "I know some of y'all don't agree, but y'all be going at that man neck a lot. And I don't think it actually that helpful. I think the universe has balance. 90% of news are liberal. 90% of TV, LA, New York writers, actors, rappers, musicians. So it's easy to make it seem like it's so one-sided. And I feel kind of free. I thought this country said I couldn't be me." An audience member yelled, "I love you, Kanye," to which West responded, "I love me too." So, then they talk about how Trump supported Kanye back when Kanye supported Trump. But something interesting that I want to point out, he says, "I feel kind of free. I thought this country said I couldn't be me." When you align with the far left tribe, the authoritarian, illiberal, reactionary left, you are walking on the razor's edge. Okay, you are walking on eggshells. You are stepping on glass. At any point, they will turn on you and they will excise you, and then you have nothing. This has happened to people. People have been falsely accused of I don't even want to say sexual abuse. Like, there are people that I've spoken with who have been accused of just general wrongdoing that's considered problematic. They lose all their money. They lose their significant other. They lose their apartments. They get kicked out. Their jobs, get rid of them. Because you're in this tribe, and it's a dogma. And no one knows what the rules are other than if you transgress, you're out. And there's nowhere for you to go. Kanye West says he feels free. He broke out of that. He broke out of that tribe. And now he has support from people who say, "Look, man, whatever you believe, I'm somebody who says I would never stab a friend in the back because they voted one way or the other. There are certain things I cannot. There are certain political beliefs I can never align with. Obviously, calls for violence, illiberal, reactionary policies, violent racism, etc. But there are people who are simply like, "Hey, Trump wants to fix the economy, so I'll vote for him." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I can understand why you want to do that." I personally disagree with a lot of the views you hold, but you know what? We're friends first, and we're political figures or people later. The first thing we need to do is figure out how to live together. If you can't live together, there is no political discussion. And everybody who wants to just like excise everyone else, all they're doing is guaranteeing division. Kanye West is free. He broke out. He put on that hat. Now he admittedly he's on another side. He's on the MAGA side, and there's a difference. But I'll tell you what. You can be a Trump supporter and one day say you no longer support Trump, and Trump supporters won't beat you over the head. They won't insult you. They won't lie about you. They'll just ask you why. There are a lot of people who are associated with the more extremist authoritarian right. Sure, they're bad people. They're violent. They're illiberal. But for the most part, what I found is a lot of my liberal friends don't really pay attention to the news that much. A lot of my conservative friends know too much about the news and sometimes read fake news. It can be a problem. But they're at least initiated in a lot of different ways. But regardless, actually, Melissa Chen put it well. She said she has some views that are liberal, some views that are conservative. But she's more scared of telling her liberal friends about conservative views than her conservative friends about liberal views. Because I assure you, if you are a liberal and you go to a conservative and tell them why, they'll either smirk at you, say, "Oh, come on," or they'll ask you why, or they'll try and prove their case. They'll say, yeah, but what about this? And they really would want to get into that debate with you. But when you go to the illiberal reactionary left and you say something that might be conservative, they'll just scream Nazi. So Kanye West, you broke free. Congratulations. And now, naturally, people are calling it a pro-Trump rant, which, sure, maybe it was. I think that's a little unfair. But some people called it a speech, if you want to put it that way. But it is what it is. Kanye West is standing up, and there are certain things happening in this country that I think lead people like Kanye West to support the president. And I think Kanye West then inspires many more people to support the president. So if that's your thing, by all means, you will get no disrespect from me. I have no problem saying my opinion and talking about foreign policy issues that are concerned to me. And I'll say this right now, too. For all the things I've said about Kavanaugh, I still think he's a bad judge. But the left, to deviate for a second, I'll talk about this in the next video, but Kavanaugh has a bunch of bad bad rulings, in my opinion, and the left has screwed this up by going for this Christine Blasey Ford route. Anyway, that's my next video, so stick around, and we're going to talk about Kavanaugh and all that. I'll see you in a few minutes.